Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Billion Dollar Movie Club. This is the show where every week we look at movies that made a lot of money and we think, we live in a society.
Which society is that?
I'm in Jersey City.
You know
You
who
don't know
else
what
was in
state
Jersey
though.
City?
Whoa, Frank Sinatra?
No, a man named Joaquin Phoenix when he
I
was
don't know if
filming a
that's
certain
true.
film.
I don't know if that's true. Hey, we're the hosts of this show. I'm Christian and with me as always is
Pawan Mehta.
Juan. You're very excited about Joaquin Phoenix. I don't know if he filmed any of his scenes in Jersey City.
What were they all in Newark?
Because I'm watching the movie. This week we're talking about Joker.
Just drop it, Joker. Yeah, it's
Anticlimactic.
Joker.
Talking about Joker. So I'm watching the movie. I'm like, where are they filming in Jersey City? Because I thought it was the ending, and so they're the ending with the cop car. I'm like, that doesn't look like Jersey City. But then we get to the Waynes. I'm like, that does look like Jersey City. That looks like General Square because I saw them. I saw
If
buildings
anything, I
next to one
thought
another.
the part where he was just walking past all the beginning, the beginning looked like Jersey City.
Maybe, maybe.
Yeah,
Juan, what film are we talking about today?
you already said it. We're talking about the Joke Man himself.
Oh, Robin Williams?
No, sadly, no. We're talking about Joke R. And
Talking about
and there is
Joker.
an R there for a very good reason because this is the first movie that actually made $1 billion that actually had an R rating. So
Yes.
that's why it's Joke R, because they needed to let you know in the title that this is an
The
R
one
rated film.
the one R-rated movie to join the list. This film directed by Todd Phillips with a budget of $70 million. Opened in the US on October 4th, 2019, will go on to gross $96 million in its opening weekend, the highest October debut ever. Not at the time, ever.
Well, I mean, at the time, there's only like
And
a couple
now,
months
and now,
before movies stopped existing.
come on. What about Tenet? I love Tenet. Joker would be number one for 2 weekends until it was dethroned by Maleficent, Mistress of Evil.
They
Everyone was
sure
feeling
made
a
a
little.
sequel to Maleficent.
Everyone was feeling a little mischievous that month. A headline from Pamela McClintock at the Hollywood Reporter on November 15, 2019. Box office milestone: Joker crossing $1 billion globally. The film would go on to gross $335 million domestically and $1.074 billion worldwide. At the time, it was the 60th highest grossing film domestically and 31st worldwide. Currently six at number 62 domestic and still 31st worldwide. Now, Puan, I would like to bring up something very interesting about Joker,
Mhm.
right? Because it is of the 9 films in 2019 to make $1 billion, yes,
Mhm.
it is the lowest grossing one domestically.
Yeah, I was actually fascinated to hear that it made that much money internationally.
Yes, worldwide, it made more money than Aladdin, Toy Story 4, and The Rise of Skywalker.
Hmm.
Who'd have thunk? Who'd have
That
thunk?
that is surprising.
What
Maybe,
you?
maybe I got an idea. So
Whoa, ideas.
you know how for like the Transformers movie and like the Pirates movie, it got really big after like it more or less died out in the States overseas. It got really big overseas after it more or less died out here.
Okay,
Maybe that happened here.
with the one
Maybe
movie.
that was the ultimate joke on all of us. And it wasn't just the one movie. Joker has been around since 2008. He was in the Suicide Squad movie.
Oh, let's ignore two cinematic Jokers: Jack Nicholson, Mark Hamill.
Yeah, but like I feel like the cult around it really was like built up in 2008.
Sure, I think we'll get into that later on. But that original Batman, the Burton Batman's ginormous, especially at the time. But come on, we're not talking about 1989 or 2008. We're talking about the now. The now also set in like the 30s. When is this movie set?
80s, 70s.
80s.
When is Taxi Driver?
I think that's 1980.
Then it's 80.
Yeah. Juan, what happens in the 2019 slash 80s, 70s?
All right. So we get an introduction to this man just going about his business, being a clown, holding up a sign, doing his thing. And then these hooligans, these ruffians come up, steal his sign, and then beat the shit out of him. And then we see his life at home. It is not great. His mother is ill in her own right. He goes to work, and then one of his buddies, in quotes, gives him a gun. And then he brings that gun to a hospital with children. Now that's kind of fucked up if you ask me. I don't know about you. That's kind of fucked up.
Some may say it's fucked up. Some may say you should be fired for that.
And that's exactly what happens. And then he goes onto the subway, and then he gets the shit beaten out of him by some other ruffians, but these are rich ruffians. And because they're rich, they don't deserve to live. So he murders all of them. And then a whole caper happens where throughout the entire thing, he's not doing anything to exacerbate circumstances outside of what he's dealing with on a personal level. He is not political, yet he leads a movement that overthrows the late night talk shows, that overthrows the Waynes, that overthrows the police, that overthrows society. We're in a Joker society now. That's what we're living in, okay? This is a Joker society, and that's Joker. Sorry, Joke R.
Juan, we started this podcast almost a year ago now. And from the very start, this is the episode I was most excited for and scared for. Because I have no clue what we think of this movie. For I don't know what I think of this movie. So you didn't see this
I'm Joker because I laugh and I cry at the same time.
You didn't see this in theaters, right?
I did not. So here's the situation that I was in. I had a friend in college who's one of their parents was a part of the Screen Actors Guild, or like the Oscars committee. So like they got the screener DVDs. And I may or may not have had access to said DVD for a while, and I still didn't watch it.
That's the most Joker thing right there. Perhaps possibly doing something illegal like that, and then perhaps not watching it. I don't know what to think of this movie. Because on the one hand, there's the movie, and on the other hand, more so than Aladdin, there's the reputation of the movie. So although I don't love this movie, I do.
Why bring up Aladdin specifically for that?
Because Aladdin has no reputation at all.
Okay.
I feel like this is the easy joke answer when you talk about movies. Mm-hmm. And I don't love the movie. I do think there's stuff to it. I think it's a very well crafted movie, but I think it's trying to do so much that nothing goes through.
So you told me that I should probably watch Taxi Driver before watching this one. I did do that.
All right.
And I found that movie fascinating. I was curious going in, like, what's gonna happen with this Joker movie that everyone says is like this one? Maybe they'll do some interesting stuff with it. Maybe they'll make some fun stuff happen.
It really is the same movie.
With one key difference, which is what makes this feel so much worse. See, the thing about Taxi Driver is you shouldn't sympathize with the taxi driver. You shouldn't empathize with the taxi driver. He's supposed to be an asshole that you see as like this, like individual who, yeah, people hang out with, but they're like kind of scared of at the same time.
Yes. Okay, so you're saying you should.
And
I
it
don't.
feels like
Yes.
Todd Phillips saw that movie, or like I get the sense
The-
from the way that this is shot that the people who made it thought that he was a victim of circumstance. They just didn't show the circumstance when that was the furthest thing from the truth for Taxi Driver. Which again,
Well,
another thing is
okay.
I found it fascinating that I saw more of what the creators thought of Taxi Driver than they think of the character of Joker.
In this movie,
Yes.
because the two things everyone brings up is that it's Taxi Driver and Kings of Comedy. I think is the other Scorsese movie. I've only seen Taxi Driver. Watched that after I watched Joker. Really weird experience watching that after Joker. I do think this movie wants you to empathize with Joker because because most people will say no, I'll never empathize with Joker, and I think the movie wants to paint it as not just the one person. So much builds to that. It's not just the event that happens. So much builds up to it. Am I wrong? I
See,
don't think the
that's
movie. I don't think the movie thinks the Wall Street dude should have died, but I don't think the movie wants them to be the angelic victims that they were when they caused the scuffle.
so I'll bring it back to Taxi Driver for a second.
Okay.
A decision I found very fascinating in that movie was how his initial plan was to kill the president elect, or like you
Yes.
get that sense, but he ran away and he was thwarted in that, but he redirected his aggression to something that society considered positive,
Yes.
which
When
I find
spoilers alert
fascinating.
for, I don't know if we ever do spoilers for movies not the topic here of the show, but spoiler alerts for Taxi Driver. I guess go watch Taxi Driver. Scorsese's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I just found it fascinating that there is that societal look at it where they do see him as a hero, but as the audience watching the whole film, you know that he isn't that sort of person that should
Yeah,
be venerated in that sense.
he's not trying to
Whereas,
be a hero, and the media kind of warps it into this heroic moment, which
whereas I think
bolsters him.
Joker kind of wants to do that. It wants to have its cake and eat it too.
I Joker, I think, is trying to address stuff Taxi Driver doesn't. I think.
Okay, the whole mental illness
Let me
aspect.
let me say,
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
because maybe I didn't latch on to Taxi Driver too much when I saw it a couple months ago, but I 2019 is a weird year because a lot of themes just repeat throughout it. Number one being this theme of empathy, which I think Joker wants to tackle, which we also get in stuff like Knives Out and A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood and Jojo Rabbit. But then you also get the class warfare that you see in Joker, that you see in Parasite, that you see in Knives Out. I think Ready or Not supposed to have a little of that.
Mhm.
I don't think those are tackled as much in Taxi Driver, right? I'm not crazy.
Which aspect?
Either social class warfare or empathy. Am I crazy?
I mean, the whole point is you're not supposed to have empathy for the
Yeah.
character. Classism is a thing. It's not class warfare, but I digress.
I think this movie does want you to sympathize with Joker. And that was my biggest problem after the first watch. Was that why do you empathize with this person that's this symbol, this image of pure evil, right? Joker's been a long-lasting figure for what 80 something years as a Batman villain, and then especially
I mean, the best Joker is train Joker, and you can't convince me otherwise.
is what Joker,
Train Joker. He's on a
like
train. He,
like the band Train. I'm very
no,
confused.
no, no, no. Like the caboose of a train. It's
Okay,
a Joker. Yeah.
which iteration of Batman is this? What
This
Batman
was in the
lore is this?
comics.
Oh my God. I wish I read comics sometimes. I
Of
really do. That
course,
sounds
of
fun.
course, we were denied the possibility of what could have been the greatest Joker, Drew Carey.
Wait, what?
Whoa, wait, is that's the guy from Whose Line Is It Anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, was there supposed to be Drew Carey Joker? What is this?
yeah. You've never seen you've never seen the behind the scenes like scenes where he dons the makeup and does his Joker.
What are you talking about?
It exists. It's online.
What? Are you serious?
I am 100% serious. He's the Joker, baby.
I gotta watch this later. What? I'm very confused. Okay, let's move on. I'm very confused. So yeah,
Uh,
I
yeah.
forgot how we got here. I think this movie wants to tackle a lot. I do think it wants you to empathize. The problem is there are people, most of us won't want to try to empathizing with a mass murderer.
See, I think it goes beyond that because there's
Uh,
also the incel aspect to it. There's the red
uh
pilliness,
yes.
which the character from Taxi Driver was also an incel. All
I
right.
feel like more so than this one, maybe. Still, it's there.
The thing is, in Taxi Driver, again, we're not supposed to sympathize with this character. He's a douchebag. We know that. But in
Yes.
this one, they try to play it both ways. And I ain't
Well,
about that.
I think it starts off what Taxi Driver never really paints him as like this child, this delicate figure that's broken, right? I feel like Joker, he's broken by halfway point, and then that's when he turns. Because if you look at those opening scenes, Joaquin's very much doing this delicate child like spirit to Arthur. And
Mhm.
again, it's such a meme say in a society, but it's how society breaks him down. He went to the social worker, and then she was like, "Yeah, we can't do anything for you."
See, that's
And
another
then,
scene I don't fully get because,
well,
like,
here
he was chewing her out for not doing anything in the first place. So, how am I supposed to feel bad when the thing that he thinks isn't helping him at all is gone?
my question is it supposed to be a literal she's not helping him, or is it unreliable narrator? He's not getting from her because he's so in his head.
Okay, even in the unreliable narrator case, there's okay, in that case, there's so many elements of this movie that are just up in the air that there's
Yes.
nothing to latch on to.
Oh, I agree.
Like, I
But
don't
couldn't
know
the
what the
argument?
fuck that final scene was.
I don't know either. The him back in the asylum.
Yeah.
I think it wants to be a oh, did it really happen? Did it not happen type of thing. And yet I don't know why I'm mesmerized by that final scene. I go back to watch it every now and then on YouTube, and then he starts singing along to Sinatra, and then the song plays as he runs down the hallway, going toward the light, and then you see the blood stains on the. And then I'm like, I don't know why I'm mesmerized by this movie every now and then. It's a fascinating piece of movie, and you know what? I do think we're better off with it than without it. Because as
Mm.
tired as we get of superhero movies, at least it is trying something different with the superhero genre,
See,
right?
the thing is, what the sense I get from this movie is that they're like, you know, Todd Phillips in interviews have said, like, when asked like why he didn't make another comedy or something in a while, and he's like, "You try making a comedy in this environment and all that,"
Yeah.
which gives me the sense that he was trying to make a movie that he thought would generate money and all that. Like he thinks that would fit in with the current cinema landscape. So he thought, how do this is all conjecture on my part.
I
This
don't
is all
think Todd
conjecture
Phillips
on
is
my part.
ever worried about making money
Maybe not money, but like to be a part of the conversation sort of thing. So
Where does War Dogs come
this
into it? I don't know what War Dogs is. Is it a comedy?
It is kind of. Um, this movie feels very cynical to me in the sense that it's just like,
Yes.
okay, how do we elevate the superhero movie to make it, you know, like an Oscar thing, a culturally significant piece? Let's merge it with this other piece of cinema that's widely regarded as important in cinema history. That's the sense that I got watching it.
But then there's the question of art. Like everyone's always inspired by art. I no one hates on 10 Things I Hate About You for being a Shakespeare ripoff.
That's fine, but the thing is, like, it feels so much connected to that that I don't even get a sense of the whole uh superhero Batman, all that about it, other than the names that exist.
Oh yeah, which I think is them trying to do something. It is the sad truth is that art is a mixture of creativity and business. And so he wouldn't be able to make this movie if it wasn't called Joker, right? And by
Well,
being
yeah,
stuck
he couldn't have
being
they couldn't have made it if it was just called Joke, because they had to let you know about the R rating in
sure,
the title.
sure. But as messy as this movie is, my least favorite parts, the parts I truly hate, are the Bruce Wayne shit. I did not need to see a cut to Bruce Wayne and his parents going out of the theater and the parents getting shot.
Yeah.
But I think sadly that's how you can get a budget this big for a movie.
How big was the budget?
$70 million for an R-rated movie? Like probably the Deadpool movies are the only movies that are R-rated that get that much money.
Hmm.
That's a lot of money.
Okay.
And so I don't like it that it has to be connected to it, but I appreciate something different of the comic book genre, right? It's that's my thing with because as much as I hate stuff about this movie, there's stuff I respect about this movie. And so I will always be pushed and pulled by this movie.
Um, I wanted to like this movie,
I thought I'd like it more on the second watch, and I'm just still confused, but go on.
but it feels like every element of it is shallow in some sense or another, or like because they're wishy-washy about the existence of certain events happening, you don't really get as a statement either way about anything.
But Pawn, super rats. Why are there super rats?
Like the whole mental illness thing, it feels like it's just a catch-all term the way this movie is using it.
Yes. But I don't is that a real condition?
What the laughing thing?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure, but the way they use that word, it just feels like just
Which word?
mental illness specifically, like those two
Sure.
words. It just feels like a bludgeon in the sense of like it's a stigmatizer in itself.
They don't say mental illness in this movie, right?
They do.
They just I feel like it's just people calling him crazy,
They do both.
which is kind of the point, right? The fact that other people are just judging him based off of his condition without like asking him, getting to know, oh, what you have a something? Let me, what's your thing? And they're all making judgments on him based off of his condition without knowing his whole story, right? Because no one asks him, oh, what can I do to help make it better or easier, or can I get you a glass of water to help you? Like, would that help you? Everyone just so, oh, he's crazy, or look at his dumbass.
That's the other thing. The world around him feels so cartoonishly against him.
But that's the point of it, is it not? He has that line that everyone just feels like everyone's going crazy or whatever. And doesn't it feel like it's sometimes that the world is just everyone is so negative and angry all the time?
So there's a okay. What I will say is that it's good that I did not see this movie in theaters.
Why?
Because I would have been the Joker laughing in the theater.
There were some weird moments in the theater. Like when he first comes out in his full Joker gear, I remember a dude cheering and being excited about Joker. I'm like, oh no,
No,
that's not. I don't think that's what you're
I
supposed to
would have
think.
been Joker laughing in the theater. That's what I'm saying.
At the wrong times. This is a weirdly funny movie though.
Like, honest, it's so funny how cartoonish the scenes where he gets beat up is. It's so ridiculous.
Is that not the point? What? When is he beat up? It's the one time in the beginning, and then later on in the subway, right?
Which, yeah, I get it. It's the exact same type. It's the exact same thing. So it shows his growth, quote unquote. But it's just too funny. It's too funny.
But my thing with the first fight, right, is I never understood why the kids beat him up. But like them beating him up for the hell of it feels like a kid thing to do. Like, oh fuck. It's because they live in a society. Like, oh no. I don't know how I feel about this movie a lot.
And like I feel like it's weird that most of the people that are somewhat nice to him are black. And like those are the only black characters in the movie.
Well, I feel like most of the minor characters are black. And part of me's like, that's weird that they're only in minor roles, but isn't that also kind of them trying to say that there's a lot of black people in the lower class? And then I'm like, oh, why can't Joker be black? I'm like, no, Joker has to be white because of the mass shooter is always a white man. And just I'm so conflicted.
Another thing I will say is during the interview scene, I finally got why this movie has specifically the diehard audience that it does.
Wait, which interview scene?
The on the late night show where he
Sure.
gives his screed that feels completely disconnected from the rest of the movie. We'll get into that later.
My
We'll
thing
get
is,
into that later. I have a
no.
specific point I'm trying to make.
Okay, go.
There's that line where he says, "I'm not political," and that connected its audience with this movie for me so well.
I think that it's not trying. It's not saying it's good that he's not political. I think it's
But
saying
the
that there's
audience
an
it
issue.
has.
Then, but
No,
then
no,
it's
no,
always the
I'm
problem of yeah.
I'm not talking about the movie at this specific
Yeah,
juncture.
yeah.
I'm talking about because like it's specifically like the type of people who are like anti SJW, get politics out of my games. Is like, yeah, no politics in this movie about class warfare and mental illness.
Here's the thing with that, right? Because I agree. How many people have you spoken to in your life that like Joker and are gigantic fans of it?
Of this movie specifically.
Yeah, this movie. I'm not
Not
saying like
many.
2 or 3. See, so my thing with the fans of this movie is I don't know how many people are just memeing it.
No. These people
I
are
can't tell how
literal
serious
about
they
it.
are.
The ones
I
I'm
can't
talking
tell.
about are serious. Like these are the same people. Like there's that one guy who got very upset when the Oscars came out and he saw that Parasite won. And
But it's
he was like, who raise your hand if you fucking saw Parasite? No one's raising their hands. And you know what? What about Joker? Let's talk about Joker for a minute. You know, here you have a movie about the poor, about the downtrodden, about the people who are looked down on upon society, the mental illness. And like you have that, and that doesn't deserve an Oscar.
and that's my thing. Because again, I don't know if I like this movie. I don't like what happened after this movie, all the
Again,
consequences
this
of it.
feels so much like incel bait.
But the fact that, isn't art a reflection of life? And the fact that this movie did that in real life is really fucking scary.
Okay. Sure. But I think Taxi Driver did the exact same thing while being pointed about its commentary in that sense.
Okay,
Which is where I feel like this is lacking.
that's fair. I'm not saying this is better than Taxi Driver.
No, but I mean,
I'm
like,
just saying that's the
I'm
obvious
saying
comparison.
that's why I don't like this. It's not pointed. It feels like it's confused about what it's trying to be.
Yes. And again, I think once Todd Phillips got carte blanche to do whatever he wanted with this movie, he was like, "Let me make it the most important superhero movie of all time." And he throws. It feels like he throws everything at the wall, hoping for something to stick. And sadly, he didn't put any glue on the wall, so nothing stuck. But I give it credit for attempting something with the genre. It's attempting more than Endgame.
I mean, sure, but there's like a bunch of stuff that's playing around with the genre. Like, hell, I think I'd probably appreciate Brightburn more than this, even though that one's very obvious in its own right.
Hmm. Bright. I thought Bright. Which one's Brightburn? Brightburn's the Superman one, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
he's
the evil Superman.
evil.
I don't know. I'd like. I like the fact that this kind of implies that maybe more movies, more risks can be taken on a larger scale. I don't. This movie is such a conundrum for me
I mean,
because
sure,
I
but I
I
hope
feel
they
like,
don't follow the template of this to a
oh
T.
sure, I doubt they'll. Oh, we're gonna get our
Mm,
Thanos movie. Thanos is the villain. You know what? I take that back. I would love if they follow this format, but they bring back Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze.
I don't mean necessarily taking a villain and making a movie about the villain of whatever franchise. I mean like taking this superhero property and mashing it up with classic cinema to make something prestige,
Yeah, I don't.
which is, I think, a template that can be gleaned from this.
It could, and I
And
think
you know what? Logan also falls into a similar camp, but at least Logan isn't stealing from a specific movie. It's taking from the genre as a whole.
isn't Logan like kind of Western? I don't know. I've been watching.
Exactly.
I'm
It's
I'm just
not
saying.
stealing from a specific movie. It's taking the essence of another genre and imbuing its own movie with that meaning.
Here's the thing, personally for me, right? I don't care if they copy a formula as long as the product is there. I think we'd be seeing something different if Joker was like the greatest film of all time. Like, oh, good, you bought Taxi Driver, that's incredible. But also, you did this and this and this.
Honestly,
So I don't mind that.
that's what I was going into this with. I wouldn't mind that. And then I saw this movie and it felt so cynical and how it was ripping off of that and like trying to take the prestige credits in a sense.
I'm curious. I'm curious how much it took from King of Comedy, which is the other Scorsese film everyone points to as it
The only
taken
thing
from.
I could think of is maybe like the scene where he actually gets on the late night talk show.
Maybe I don't know what happens in the King of Comedy.
That one isn't a heavy drama. It's more of just like a failing comedian. So like yeah, of course.
My mind mixes that with Punchline, the other stand-up comedy movie from the 80s.
Hmm.
But again, like, fuck, they got talented people to do this.
Sure. And again, it feels like in that interview scene, they were really trying to hammer the point home of what they were trying to say or whatever, where Joker's literally mouthpiecing it.
I don't know
But
if
it
they're trying to
feels
say
like
something.
not the rest of the movie just doesn't back it up.
Can I bring up something
Mhm.
from a podcast I listened to a couple months ago? Um, Empire Magazine had like its 500th issue or podcast or something. So they had a special episode with Edgar Wright and Quentin Tarantino. I feel like you're not gonna like what I say, but I'm just curious. What do you think? So they were asking Tarantino what was like what was it? They were talking about like suspense and the difference between suspense and scary or thrilling. And then he brings up Joker. He's like, oh, it's a kind of one note film, but the talk show scene is one of the greatest scenes I've seen in a movie. And he says it subverts audience expectation because you watch it, and as an audience member, you want Joker to kill Murray. And he's like, I know people who said they don't, but the movie makes you want Joker to kill Murray, and it subverts audiences by making them empathize with the killer in the moment. Which I don't
That
know.
makes so much
I'm just curious what
sense
you think.
coming from Quentin Tarantino.
It does. It does. It's something I think about every now and then, just because of it's such a bold claim. But Tarantino says bold claims for I feel like for the hell of it sometimes.
Yeah, but like also seeing how he finished Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it makes so much sense for him.
But doesn't, because I don't feel like I ever want him to kill Murray the 2 times I've seen this. However, I'm at a point in that scene where I go, this is the only logical step for the movie to go. He has to kill Murray, right?
I guess for plot progression, sure.
And so is that,
I'll
I don't
be honest,
know.
I was Joker laughing at that moment where he killed Murray. I was Joker laughing.
Yes. Do you not like the scene? I found myself leaning in toward the TV during that scene. That scene grabs me, and
I'll
I'm
be honest,
terrified by it.
that final moment was memed so hard that I just laughed.
Oh,
You get what
That's-
you fucking deserve.
that's the thing with memes. I hate memes. Joaquin is going for it there. Joaquin is scary in that scene. But the memes, they went too far. The memes went too far. Yeah, I think that's a fascinating scene.
If anything, the scene that really got me in that sense, where it just felt too over the top for me. The scene where, in a sense, I realized I do not want to watch this movie ever again. Was when he killed his buddy with the scissors.
That's the scene where I cringe the most. Out of fear.
And just
it wants you to see that he's gone full Joker mode. I know how funny that's, but no, because the only when he killed the men on the train, right? But the lights go off when the gun is shot, so you don't actually see it happening. Except maybe the third one. I can't remember how he kills the third dude who's crawling up the stairs.
he shoots him in the back.
But it's not as bloody as anything else we've seen. Then you get the mom, but he chokes her. She's
Again,
off screen.
That moment was so funny. It was so funny because I thought my life was a tragedy. Now I realize it's a comedy.
Yeah, that scene doesn't work for me. I don't know why it doesn't work.
I'm the Joker.
But then, yeah, you get that scene where he kills the dude who gave him the gun. I want to say the film wants you to question whether or not he actually gave him the gun.
What do you mean?
Like maybe it could be because the employees at the clown place, what is it, clown emporium? Can we call it an emporium?
No, it was called Ha-Ha's. That was literally the name of the place, Ha-Ha's.
They're so back and forth with Arthur, right? The guy gives him the gun, and then he's like, "Oh, Arthur had a gun." Or he goes in the boss, and the boss is like, "How you doing?" All the other employees think you're crazy, and then later on calls him crazy. And so, I think there's a part of the movie that might be asking you to question whether or not Arthur brought the gun himself or the dude gave him the gun. But then the dude's like, "Hey, what did you tell the cops?" So I make sure our story. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't have that question at any point.
But yeah, as soon as he kills him, that's that's full Joker mode. I'm sorry, that's the only way I could explain it.
The other thing I just wasn't about was the dude with dwarfism. Like it felt like they were making a lot of jokes on him.
I do remember
with scene, the lock.
Yes, I do remember everyone just awkwardly, scarily laughing at that as soon as it happened. But outside of that, right? Are there jokes at his expense other than people being assholes?
There's also
the point is that the people are assholes.
There's also just the individual lines about it where like Arthur says, "You were the only person who was ever nice to me." I don't recall a single time they ever interacted where he wasn't laughing at it. No, and like they didn't have a direct conversation.
It's the fact that he never laughed at Arthur. Everyone else.
No, I mean Arthur was just laughing at him. Like that's the only interaction I've ever seen between the two of them.
Yeah, It was a real friendship. But the fact that and I don't know the character name or the actor's name, but the fact that he never said mean things to Arthur was the reason that Arthur was like, "I'm gonna save you." Is it a fucked up way of showing empathy? Yes. But this movie also just kind of wants to be fucked up for the sake of being fucked up at times, right? It's again, I said this like 80 times on this podcast. What the fuck is this movie?
One thing I will say, and you know what was my final Joker laugh moment?
What?
Uh, when they rescue him from the cop car and he goes on the roof, on the hood of the cop car, and just starts doing his Joker dance.
Do you not like when he does the Joker dance? Was it
I
memed too
initially thought
hard?
it was gonna be just one scene, but like it felt like they were just hamming it up every time it came back.
It does happen a lot more than I remember it. Well, I don't know. It's him. It's him at the most him, right?
I
That's when he's
guess.
his most complete, and it's not something you enjoy. Bless you. But the point is that that's him at his most comfortable, and so he's able to express himself like that, right? That's why after he kills them, after he kills the Wall Street people, he runs out, he goes in the bathroom, he feels what he feels, and then he starts dancing. He's at home alone, he's dancing. Right before he goes on Murray, he's dancing, getting into character for his entrance.
Also, by the way, having Robert De Niro as Murray, greatest Easter egg I've ever seen in a movie. Great
It's
Easter egg.
so on the nose that the movie that's paying homage at best to Taxi Driver has a De Niro, but De Niro is so fun in this movie.
It's such a great Easter egg.
I like De Niro in this movie. He's fun. He's not an Easter egg. You know who's an Easter egg? Brian Tyree Henry, who's in one scene.
No.
Mark Maron, who's in one scene.
No. They're not Easter eggs because they're not callbacks to anything specific. See, Robert De Niro is a callback to Taxi Driver.
Do Easter eggs have to be callbacks? Wasn't the first Easter egg like, "Hey, you found my Easter egg"? That's not a callback.
Sure. But I feel like those are just one scene characters, whereas Robert De Niro, that's an Easter egg for true cinephiles in the audience. See, the average moviegoer will be like, "Oh, hey, Robert De Niro's having fun in this role," but the true cinephiles will be like, "Ah, ha ha, he was the taxi driver man before, but now he's the killed man."
Do you remember when briefly Scorsese was going to be a producer on this?
Wasn't he?
He wasn't at the end. He left eventually, but for a while he was. So I wonder if that's part of how they got Scorsese in De Niro in it. You know who is a producer on this movie? Weirdly,
Who?
Bradley Cooper.
Hmm.
Bradley Cooper had this the year after he did A Star Is Born.
Good for him.
And then, although Scorsese left producing, a frequent producing partner of his, Emma Tillinger Koskoff, who produced Wolf of Wall Street, The Silence and Irishman, also produced Joker. Joker co-written by Todd Phillips and Scott Silver. Scott Silver, best known for films such as Johns, The Mod Squad, 8 Mile, and The Fighter.
Nice.
Weird films. It's a gorgeously shot film. Would you disagree with that?
Sure.
Lawrence Sher shot this film. He directed the movie Father Figures. What? Do you remember that one?
I don't.
Owen Wilson and Ed Helms looking for their dad.
Is it in the Figures universe with Hidden Figures?
You know, I bet if you dig deep enough into the lore, it is. You know what I'm saying? She shot a bunch of comedies, mainly The Dictator, Garden State, the Hangover movies. Godzilla, King of the Monsters, again on this list. Talking about
That
it, he
movie
shot
was
that.
lit.
I do, I do really, I think this movie plays with light very well, and there are many scenes when Arthur goes toward the light that I think are shot beautifully, and I think it's fascinating. The one time he really comes away from the light is that iconic scene when he's dancing on the stairs, running away from the cops. Other than that, he's always going toward the lights. And whether you like it or not, that scene is iconic now.
Yo, the Joker stares
I love the
it
videos.
caused the problem in Harlem.
I love the videos of people in their homes looking out their window, and it's them recording Joaquin dance. Like, oh, hey, they're filming the movie here.
So apparently, after the release of this movie, those stairs became such a tourist destination that the people who
Yeah.
live there are like, get the fuck out, please.
Uh, we gotta
I find
mention.
that funny. Where it's just like, imagine just on your daily commute going home, you're going home, and then you just see all these people Joker dancing around you with like someone recording.
Hold on, you laugh. We would totally do that if we were at those stairs.
I mean, I wouldn't do that when everyone else was there at the
Hold
same
on,
time doing it.
you know we would.
I wouldn't. I would not record you doing that. You'd need to find someone else.
I feel like we
See,
gotta
I
mention.
have respect for architecture and its intended uses.
Oh, now we're gonna argue the use of stairs. What are stairs used for?
Those specific stairs were intended to be used to get from one block to another, unlike the TKTS booth stairs. Those you could Joker dance all over. Those were meant to be an attraction.
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. It's weird how often stairs appeared in movies this year. Just Joker and Parasite, very important stairs. Two is more than I would think.
I'll be honest. Parasite had a much scarier moment where like it's really
yeah.
dark, but you could still see his eyes.
Oh yeah.
From
Oh
the.
yeah.
Whew.
I don't think this movie's trying to be scary. It's trying to be horrifying. But there's no that creepy moment, right?
Right, right.
You're more horrified by the evolution of Arthur.
Going back to talking about that main scene.
Which main scene? The De Niro
where, yeah.
death scene?
Yeah. Again, it's so funny, which is like how so many elements of that scene have been memed. Like the whole, you think, like a great example is 12 people are dead in Tomato Town, and you think that's funny.
I didn't know that part was memed.
And he's like, I'm tired of pretending like it's not.
Yeah, that again, that's my thing. Like,
but like,
I don't know.
Specifically his monologue. Specifically his monologue.
Yes.
It does not feel like it's bolstered by the movie surrounding it.
But should he have a very pointed monologue? Arthur is not trying to do anything specifically. He's just doing what he feels like he has to do against specific people.
The monologue feels like it's being pointed though, while saying that it's not.
Against which is what, the 1%?
Partially, yeah. Against the politicians, but I'm not political and all that.
What else is it pointed at?
With the whole, oh, I need help and all that aspect of it. And just there's like a lot of things where it's attacking and it's like, I'm here, but like, yeah.
Well, that's my thing with the De Niro character is like, he's supposed to kind of represent the 1%, right? And I think this movie has a lot to say about media. Because if you think of that scene when he first comes into the mom's place, and the mom's like, oh, everyone loves Thomas Wayne. And he's like, who are you talking to? She's like, oh, well, the people on the TV. And that relationship between one with the media and the TV. And remember, this movie released in 2019. We're still deep in the Trump presidency. Thomas Wayne, totally a Trump figure, is he not? The businessman trying to be a politician.
I mean, I guess if you also just don't get a sense of Thomas Wayne as a person either.
But he's not a person.
I,
He's a figure. He's an image. This movie's all about images. Joker is a symbol for this revolution in the movie.
sure, but revolutions are made up of people trying to do something.
In the moment. This isn't.
No, not just
I
in
don't
the
know.
moment. And like if he's the
Hold on.
figurehead for this
What did
revolution,
George Washington do? What did George Washington do? Please tell me. I don't know what he did other than he led the revolution. What did George Washington do?
what do you mean?
What did what did he do?
Yo, him and his buddies were like, yo, fuck tea. I hate tea. And then that was a core belief of his personality.
Oh,
And
they hate
among
tea.
all the founding fathers. See, that this is the thing that people don't understand. The nexus point for America, the Boston Tea Party, wasn't necessarily about taxation without representation.
Oh
They
no.
also just hated tea and how the Britishers kept trying to pawn it off on them. See,
So
the thing
Pawan,
is,
you
like,
were wait, hold
yeah,
on, Pawan.
they're like,
You were breaking up
they
during that?
moved from Britain.
All right.
Am I here?
My internet is unstable. And so we're in and out. Can you repeat all of that once more?
Okay, here's my Joker monologue right now. The Boston Tea Party wasn't about taxation without representation. It's because the founding fathers just hated tea. See, they didn't flee Britain for like finding the new land or whatever. They were just sick of the Britishers and their tea. So they were like, maybe if we escape and go somewhere else, maybe we can live without tea. But then they kept being like, buy tea, buy tea, buy tea. So then the founding fathers were like, yo, fuck tea. Let's push it all over the Hudson. And that was the nexus point for America being founded,
I see.
which is why I'm actually a member of the new Boston Tea Party.
The
Not
new Boston Tea Party.
not to be confused with the Tea Party, the like offshoot of the Republican Party. No, I'm part of the Boston Tea Party, which stands on the principle that America was founded off of a hatred of tea.
So question, with this new party, when
Mhm.
you join it, do you receive your own new 3DS XL?
You get a coffee maker sent to your
Okay,
house.
cool, cool. Going back
Because
to
you denounce
media.
the ways of tea, so like you need something to replace it with the
Oh,
caffeine, so like you get the coffee maker.
I see. Going back to media. Yeah, you have the thing with the mom and her thing with Thomas Wayne. You have that scene, which is actually very well shot and executed, of when they go to sit down to watch Murray, and then Arthur imagines himself in the audience, and he imagines Murray inviting him up on stage and being like this father figure. And then when he finally sits down with Murray, he realizes Murray's kind of an asshole, and he isn't what he glorified him to be in his head. This movie's about glorification of images all the time. Thomas Wayne is glorified, and then he's a total asshole. Joker is glorified at the end, and he did a lot of bad shit. The Wall Street men are glorified because they were Wall Street men, but they were harassing that lady, and then they beat up Arthur because he's laughing, and they don't know why he's laughing.
I don't think the Wall Street men were glorified.
Retro, no, not to the audience, but
No,
in
no,
the
I
world
mean,
they
even
are.
in the world, I think it was just like these three were senselessly murdered. That was about it.
Yes. But then I think De Niro was like, oh, they were upheld great individuals. But all we saw were them harassing a woman and then beating up Arthur for laughing, something Arthur can't control. Those do not sound like upright standing citizens. Like,
Hmm.
again, it's messy. I think it's fascinating. I feel like the only person who truly showed Arthur any warmth in the moment was Brian Tyree Henry. But then Arthur's so focused on his objective at hand that he just dismisses any niceties that Tyree Henry shows him. Who's wonderful in that small part. And then we didn't even talk about Zazzy Beats and all that crap.
I mean, to be
We're
fair,
not even
like
talking
she's
about the parentage stuff. There's a
like,
whole lot in this fucking movie.
sure, Zazzy Beats is there, but what are they saying with her? Because she feels more like a prop than a character.
She is, but she's supposed to be a prop. He doesn't see her as a real human being.
Which fine.
Right? You're not supposed. He doesn't look at her as human. He thinks of her as this savior who'll ground him and bring him happiness. And it turns out no, he met her one time in the elevator.
That was also a really good Easter egg to Taxi Driver, by the way. That first meeting with her in the elevator.
Why elevator? I don't how.
She did the fingers to the head, and then
Oh sure.
that's a great Easter egg to oft forgotten underground film Taxi Driver.
Underground like you ever hear of you know what I'm thinking of the one with the Orson Welles one fuck Mank.
Why do you keep
That
bringing up
underground film
Mank?
It's just fun to say Mank. Say it.
I mean, I already said Mank. I said it again.
I was gonna jokingly say Citizen Kane. I thought it'd be funny if I switched to Mank last minute. Also, I just like say Mank, a film I don't hate.
I feel like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do our own Watch Mojo top 10 Easter eggs in Joker. You ready? You got number 10 for me?
Number 10, Brian Tyree and Zazzy Beats. Both of them are stars of Atlanta. Todd Phillips, obviously a big star, a big fan of Atlanta.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? I wasn't specific enough. Let's go Easter eggs to Taxi Driver.
Come on, I don't care that much about Taxi Driver.
I know, but I just think
not
this would be
fresh in my
fun.
memory. It's not fresh in my memory. You
Okay,
can write
fine.
an article about
Right.
it and pitch it.
Number 9. That
Number 10.
moment where Joker hands the lady in the bus the card saying that he has a mental illness is much like similar scenes in other movies.
Number 8, Joker dances in New York City, which is a homage to West Side Story.
Number 7. We have the main character Joker, who's known for his existence in Batman movies and other related medias.
And scene.
We got 6 through 1 left, man. Come on.
We didn't even do 10.
We did. You started with 10, and then I did not.
I thought we didn't do 10. I like how he says Murray, not Murray, Murray. It's fun. I want to mention because I haven't mentioned it yet. And I'll try to mention music by Hilder. I don't know if you looked at Hilder's last name. There's a symbol that I just do not know.
It's like Gunadotter or something like that.
Something like that. Shout out to you for knowing that off the top of your head.
I mean, the reason why I remember that is because the last name is very similar to the last name of one of the main characters in Sense8. And I was just watching that around the same time that the Oscars for this was happening. So, yeah.
She won the Oscar for best score. I think the score is terrific. There are times when that score really hits that, like there's like this banging of maybe a drum or something percussive during that Murray scene, but doesn't really start until Arthur really gets really goes in.
Mm-hmm.
And when De Niro is shot, the music continues, which is fascinating. As it doesn't. That's not the climax. It's still building off of that. And then I like some kind of like a little strings hidden when he draws the blood on the face, and obviously that first dance scene where the music hits is incredibly shot, and the music is terrific in that. She I if I'm correct, she's the second woman to ever win the Oscar for Best Original Score,
Hmm.
which is fucking badass. And she did like Chernobyl also. She's talented and she's a rising star. Speaking of Oscars, this film was nominated for 11 Oscars. This film was the most nominated film at the Oscars of the year of Parasite, 1917, Little Women, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Irishman. No, Joker was the most nominated film.
Little Women was really slept on.
Yeah, as much as it was slept on, it's about 6 nominations, I think, which is solid toll. But yeah, this is the most nominated film we've talked about since Lord of the Rings had 11 nominations.
But this didn't get Best
First,
Picture.
first Best Picture nominee since Up, I want to say. No, sorry, Black Panther and then Up. You don't have a lot of Best Picture nominees in this group. No, not Up. Toy Story 3, other Pixar
Yeah, I was
movie.
about to say what up. We didn't talk
Call
about
me out for my bullshit, Pawan. Call me out for my bullshit. 11 nominations. They include. Is there a separate page for their awards and accolades? There's accolades received by Joker.
I don't know. Did I like the score to Little Women more?
Oh, I do love that score. I think here's the thing. I think it's okay to like the Little Women score more than Joker. I don't like it, but I am moved by it.
Hmm.
Which is my thing with this movie. It moves me. I don't enjoy it, but it moves me and I'm fascinated by it. Yeah, 11 nominations: sound mixing, sound editing, original score, makeup and hairstyling, film editing, costume design, cinematography, adapted screenplay, actor, director, and picture. 2 wins in score. And Joaquin Phoenix finally won his Oscar for this movie.
It was also quite a speech he gave.
Oh, it was quite a speech. And then it ends with him thanking his brother. And we're all like, oh, that's a good speech. We're just ignoring the animal abuse stuff he's talking about in that speech.
Yeah.
Kind of like this movie. He throws stuff at the walls and sees what fits.
He
But
truly was Joker mode when he was given that.
here's the thing. He's fucking incredible in the movie. Like, I don't want him to win his Oscar for Joker, but I'm not gonna say it's not deserved. He gives his
Hmm.
all and it moves me.
I'm trying to remember what else I've seen him in because I recently saw him in Signs, but like what else?
The Master? You ever watch The Master?
Right. Yes. That also feels like an interesting parallel to this as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people online will say The Master was he did the same thing as he did in Joker. Um, I think Joker he gets to be unleashed a little bit more than he was in The Master. Master is a little more subdued and quiet, and there's a lot more tension in it than Joker. He's wonderful in both, as wonderful as you can be in this an individual like this. Brother Bear, obviously, star of Brother Bear. Tell everybody I'm on my way. Her, he's a
Oh yeah.
wonderful in her. Complete 180 from Joker. He has this new movie come out called Come On, Come On. It's supposed to be wonderful. They just released the posters for it today, and it looks delightful and kind of charming. It's Mike Mills who did 20th Century Women, which I love very much. Yeah, this is a weird movie.
I mean, I might not have liked it, but it did make me go Joker mode or sicko mode. So like take with that what you will.
I want to once again just bring up how darkly hilarious this movie is.
You know,
The
I
the
was
scene
laughing.
with
Okay.
go.
I was laughing at this movie the same way I was laughing when I was watching The Lobster,
Oh, that's one I
which
got to rewatch.
that one is a comedy and it's a dark comedy, but like I was getting weird looks in the theater for laughing at the dark comedy moments. It's like, are we watching the same film?
Well, Juan, as Joker says, comedy is subjective. And I feel like that's just dark comedy in general. Some people are on board and laughing, other people are just so disturbed by it they won't laugh. I'm like 50-50 on
Okay,
dark
okay.
comedy.
There's a difference between that. Because when for this moment, it was literally I was laughing at the scene. The two elderly people in front of me turned around and gave me a stern look. And
Yeah,
I was with my buddy at the time, and he had to be like, yo, calm down.
I don't know. But it's so fucked up. It's hilarious when he uh Arthur's like, you can go, and just forgets about the chain or the lock. That's hysterical. The other one I really think is hysterical when he's dancing and he's in his zone. He's dancing at Children's Hospital. Everyone's on board. No one's judging him. Everyone's happy. He's killing it as a clown. And out of nowhere, the gun drops like the beat, and I laugh my ass off. That's hysterical.
Honestly, though, the way the gunshot goes off against
Oh,
Marte.
when he's dancing. Wait.
No, I'm
Oh, okay.
talking like the you get what you fucking deserve. Yes, that's memed, but also it just feels like a Pratt like moment.
How
Just
so?
the way it was. It felt like a comedy gag where it's like, you see the gun and you just go like bang.
Yeah. The move, it happened so quick and so fast at such breakneck speed. De Niro falls back in his chair. Uh, I thought you were bringing up when he's watching. Is it Shall We Dance? I don't know if it's the Fred Astaire scene. He's watching something on TV. I think it is, and he
Oh,
starts
was it
dancing to
Modern
it.
Times?
No, no. Modern Times is when he's in the theater with everyone about to talk to Thomas Wayne in the bathroom. There's a scene when he's watching Shall We Dance, which is a Fred Astaire Ginger Rogers movie I watched recently for the first time. And it kind of goes into this movie. There's a scene very early on when Fred Astaire goes down in the depths of the ship and hangs out with all the workers who are all black and are just having a good time singing and dancing and playing their instruments. And it's like, well, they're also in the depths of the ship and they're probably not actually happy, but because it's a Fred Astaire movie, we're gonna pretend they're happy. I think that's kind of what this movie is trying to deal with. Like, I don't know, giving some voice to the voiceless when the voiceless in the 30s were having to pretend to be happy all the time. But I thought you were gonna say the moment when he actually shoots the gun and it leaves the hole in the wall, and the mom's like, "What happened?" He's
That
like, "Oh,
very
I was
much,
watching a war movie."
again, watching Taxi Driver and this back to back. It's really funny because that scene was just straight up taken from that, except he actually shoots the gun in this one, making it
Yeah.
look. I guess in that sense, it does make him look a little pathetic in that scene, whereas
When he
the
shoots the
original it
gun and
didn't
it freaks
necessarily
out.
do it. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
which I think is the point. Like he doesn't mean to be a monster at first, and then he slowly embraces it. I think De Niro in Taxi Driver is more about machismo and toxic masculinity, which I think you get a lot less of that in this one.
the thing is, I feel like it's very easy for, again, this is why I call this an incel movie. It's very easy for people to give them say like put themselves in Joker's shoes when they haven't experienced any of the strife and be like, "Oh,
Sure.
I'm the victim."
But then is that the movie's fault?
Kind of, yeah.
You present a picture which I'm sorry, it's more accurate than I'd like it to be. It's not in your control who sees it and how they react to it.
See, the
I think
thing
we
is,
talked about
people
this with
also
Avengers.
watch Taxi Driver, and there were people who took the wrong message from that. But I still think that works better because even though it's
Sure,
presenting that, it
sure,
still has a point of view about it.
sure.
Like, it was so telling in that movie that he takes he finally goes on like a movie date with the girl and he takes her to a porno.
Yeah. He doesn't know how
Uh,
to talk to women. He doesn't know boundaries. Arthur doesn't either in this one. I I
But
don't know.
you get a lot more
I
sympathy
wonder.
for Joker in this one, which is
Well,
what I really don't like.
what do you think would have happened if Taxi Driver came out? And it's impossible. What if Taxi Driver came out today instead of Joker?
What do you mean?
Would the incels glam onto it in the same way one made with Joker?
Yeah, but like I still would think that's a better movie because
Right.
if you're actually because again, I feel like the added absence of sympathy for the main character is very important to for that. Because like yeah,
But again, I do think that's why this movie's trying. What this brings to it that Taxi Driver doesn't. That's why you do this movie. And then it's a question: should you? I don't know if you should.
again, what this movie feels like it's doing is it's saying, "Oh, you should feel bad for this person because they have a mental illness." Which is like, "Oh, because you have a mental illness, you're this type of
I think
asshole."
I think that's one of the many reasons you should feel bad for Arthur in the beginning. In the beginning. Well, we are far from the beginning now. I think this is the end of our conversation on Joker. Any final thoughts?
We got what we fucking deserve, I guess, as a society.
Why is Mark Maron in this movie? I love Mark Maron. He pops up. He's like the director of the Murray Show. Oh. Well, we had a lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings, and I think we need a second to calm down and take a break.
Do do.
We have laws and orders to do, laws and orders, laws and orders. Dick Wolf,
Bow, bow, bow.
a Dick Wolf production.
Dick.
Wolf,
Do do.
we are back. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is gonna be some fun, all right? We had a little seriousness there earlier with the Joker
But
conversation, but you
now it's
know
the
what?
comedy. Now we're a
It's gonna be
comedy.
real funny because you know what's funny? Imperfections and Pawan.
We what do we do with blemishes? We spit on them and then we laugh in their face until they shine.
Huh? And then the blemishes come back and they stab us in the eye with a pair of scissors and smash it into the wall. But you know what? We're not there yet. So let's fix those blemishes.
Laugh at them. Miss
Why?
Simpson, what you got for us today?
How am I fixing Joker, you ask? First off, as mentioned, Brian Tyree Henry, Zsazzy Beats, both in this movie, both minor roles. And you know what? I think we have to get the full Atlanta cast in here. So the two cops were played by Bill Camp and oh man, I just had it open and I had the other dude's name. The other dude's name not here. Bill Camp, very talented man. I'm on the Bill Camp train now after watching Queen's Gambit.
But I guess
Very
he's
good man.
gone. He's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. I'm
But
sorry. He doesn't
speaking
need this.
side tangent,
Maybe he didn't do this, he'd have another episode of Queen's Gambit. Go on.
side tangent. Did you hear they're making a Queen's Gambit board game?
Oh, I thought you meant the musical. Um, hmm. Huh. You know, we live in a society. This Glenn Flesh, no, that's wrong. Bill Camp and Shay Wickham. Bill Camp and Shay Wickham will now be replaced by Donald Glover and Lakeith Stanfield. Lakeith will be playing the same exact role he played in Knives Out that year. So there, our two detectives are rounding out the uh, Atlanta cast. Next up, there's a scene when the Wall Street men fight and are killed by Arthur. Early on, they start singing a song to Arthur. Pawn, are you familiar with the song?
I forgot what song it was.
It's called Send in the Clowns. It's a Sondheim song. They saw this clown and were like, "Hey, we know all the words to a Stephen Sondheim song, so let's sing this musical theater song to this clown." And I think, a little on the nose, a little on the nose with the clowns there. So what if they sing another Sondheim song? Another Sondheim song. And Pawan, I Googled the most famous Sondheim song. And I don't know where I opened it. I'm not as prepared for this as I thought I was. I
You're not
apologize.
as premiered for this.
I'm not as premiered for it at all. And so he gave me a list of songs, one of which is from the musical Pacific Overtures.
Okay.
It's called Someone in a Tree.
Who's in a tree?
I don't know. Never heard of this song. But the Wall Street Men will be singing Someone in a Tree to Joker in that scene on the subway car. Final fix. All right. Everyone's in front of that theater where they're watching Modern Times, and Joker, Arthur sneaks in and comes out with a disguise. It's like, oh, fun disguise. And so in this scene, it turns into the video game Hitman. You ever play Hitman?
I
Hitman,
know
there's
it
a lot of,
exists.
there's a lot of fun disguises. You throw on a disguise, enter a new room, and you sneak around the room. And so it will literally turn into something like it. You know that scene in Bo Burnham's Inside? Do you ever watch that? When it
Sometimes.
turns, when it, just when I want to go to sleep but want to cry while I sleep. Uh, the scene when he's like the video game version of himself, it'll be kind of like that, but with like the UI and the heads-up display of Hitman. And just like Hitman, Arthur will accidentally kill people, not meaning to,
Banana
accidentally
peels
killing people.
everywhere, using wet floor signs to just bludgeon people with.
Yeah, and then so he'll have to hide them. He might have to turn into mulch, but he does what he has to do as Joker. And so we have the Hitman game within the scene, and then it ends when he enters the auditorium and walks down the stairs.
Mhm.
Those are my fixes.
Okay.
Atlanta, Sondheim, Hitman.
Those are some pretty good fixes.
Thank you. Thank you.
I got a thing or two myself. Let me just pull up
Ooh.
a couple of informations.
Maybe a Joker up your sleeve. See what I did? See what I did there?
You said the
Typically,
name of the movie.
it's
Good
typically an
kudos.
ace. It's typically an ace up your sleeve, but I took the joke, I workshopped it in my head, and changed it into a Joker
So
up your
so
sleeve.
we
Go on.
know we know that Robert De Niro is in this movie, and his name is Marty or something like that in this movie. But you know what? What is his
Murray?
name? Murray, whatever. Yeah, there you go. But you know what? That's not connected to anything. Where's the significance in a name like Murray? No. What his name should be,
Oh.
what that character's name is Rupert Pupkin.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were doing.
See, this is that character is the same fledgling comedian from the King of Comedy. You see, after the end of that movie, he finally made it, and now he's a late night host.
Other idea. May I toss another idea and you
Oh,
let me know
I
what you
got
think?
trust me, I got other stuff.
No,
Let
no,
me
but
let me
this
add.
with this. Okay,
Okay.
go.
Okay. So also, maybe before he go, like, there's a scene, we need to add a scene where maybe he's in a taxi on his way to the show, and he runs into another titular character from Robert De Niro's canon, Travis Bickle, also played by Robert De Niro.
Go on.
And
Go on.
he has a conversation with him, and like Travis Bickle, of course, gives him the Joker medicines, and like
Oh.
lets him know what's going on. Like they have a conversation where Travis Bickle is like, I was tired of New York City. It was filled with dirty people and everything, and like I thought I'd make a new start at Gotham, only to find it's just the same. And then Joker man's like, I hear you, man. I hear you. I'm on my way to kill this man for you real quick. And then, so like, you might be asking yourself at this point, wait, you're having two characters played by Robert De Niro in the same movie played by Robert De Niro? How is that possible? Well, you see, What's
Oh
gonna
no.
happen is throughout the movie, we see there are moments where we see Joker Man taking his medicine and maybe not taking his medicine as time permits and like medicine amounts permit. What the medicine is that he is in the movie currently is just the normal like circular white pills, right? We're gonna replace
Okay.
it with blue pills because he is in his own version of the Matrix. That's why he's seeing multiple Robert De Niro's.
There's a glitch in the Matrix.
And that scene where he's in the cab, Travis Bickle hands him one of the blue pills, and that's how he's calm enough. That's how he becomes soy boy enough to actually go through with his plan. Because see, the inclusion of the blue pill isn't just to make another reference. This is to fight back against the incel red pill audience because
Ah.
they are not going to associate with someone who takes the blue pill. What's wrong with them? They wouldn't do that.
Mm.
So yes, in this movie, Joker, to become the true incel, he takes the blue pill throughout. He keeps going the wrong route. And that's how he becomes Joker.
What about De Niro's role from New York, Scorsese's musical film?
See, the thing is, we're not in New York, and if it's a musical, I think that character might be too happy being in New
What
York to go
about
to Gotham.
The Irishman?
That's like 30 years from now.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
bringing these up because they're in the exact same timeline, the same
All right,
years.
makes sense. I'll be honest. For a second, I thought you were gonna say Travis Bickle was the host of the new show.
That's
Like
yeah,
he
I knew
became
you were going for
he
that.
became so famous from being such a hero that everyone just gave him everything he wanted. But no, I think that's an incredible fix, and we finally get the Matrix franchise in the club.
Mhm. So
Keanu
there you go.
Reeves, friend of the podcast from last week's Toy Story 4. Carrie Ann Moss is not yet. Let's get Carrie Ann in this.
So yeah, those are my fixes.
I think we got some good fixes, Pawn. Some solid fixes. But
Throw all that
maybe
out
I'm
the
wrong.
window.
Maybe they're not solid fixes because it's like comedy. It's like subjective.
It's like this movie itself, but not really, because this movie is a comedy and comedy is subjective. But this movie, but that's what Joker thinks this movie is. It's actually a tragedy, which is objective. So now we got to talk about objective facts.
So we're talking about tragedies now? Come on, let's rank Joker on the list of billion-dollar movies based off of science. Science. All right. It's open here. Wait, can you see it? There we go. All right.
All right.
As we do, there's a coin and it shall be flipped.
Heads. Wait, no, tails. I'm going full Joker. All
I'm
right.
confused. For you said a different thing before. Should we do it again? I feel like we need to redo
Yes,
it.
I'll do
And on
tails.
heads. Is this your official call?
Yes,
All right.
I'm Joker.
Juan says tails. We're flipping the coin. It lands on tails. All right, Pawan. Let's see. Last week's film was Toy Story film.
Toy Story
Is
film.
Joker oh god, Toy Story 4. Is Joker better or worse than Toy Story 4?
That's a great question. See, the thing with Toy
They're
Story
very
4,
similar movies.
I mean, with my fixes, they were, yes.
Got to.
Um,
Better or worse than Toy Story 4?
See, like if it was Incredibles 2, I might say it was better. But right now we're dealing with Toy Story 4. I don't know. I feel like both movies are begging for their own death in a way. Like this movie is a chimera that's just like, and me. Uh, well, let's give it up to the chimera. Let's say it's better.
All right. Is film better or worse than Star Wars The Force Awakens?
Oof. Oof. I will say this film didn't feature Adam Driver punching walls. So I'm gonna have to say worse.
Okay. Does he punch a wall in Force Awakens? I know what movie you're talking about, but does he punch a wall in Force Awakens?
Yeah, with his helmet.
Okay. All right. So
Oh
that
no, he definitely
means
like hits walls as Kylo Ren also. That happens a
sure,
lot.
sure. So a min of 15 and a max of 16 is very exciting and generate the placement of Joker. Pawan, tell me when to press.
Now,
Number 15 is Joker. I'm not that upset about that, I'll be honest.
I'll be honest, I was kind of hoping the number one spot was still available.
Yeah, but science. What can you do with science?
Looks
Oh,
like
well,
we
you could
weren't ready for a true Joker moment.
you know what you could do with science? Recap it. Let's recap the list. At number 47, Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides.
Number 46, Johnny Depp 2.
Ed
3,
Wood?
4,
Big Fish. Seen Big Fish?
Alice. He's a Mad Hatter. He does the Futterwackins.
Number 45, Pawan, you can't photo whacking in public. What are you talking about? Number 45, Toy Story 3.
Number 44, number one in our hearts and in money, Avatar.
43, Spider-Man Far From Home.
At number 42, Aladdin, parentheses, four numbers, close parentheses.
41, Transformers Dark of the Moon.
Number 40, Avengers, the James Spader one.
39, Despicable Me 3.
38, Transformers, Dinosaurs.
37, Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest.
36, Captain Marvel.
35, Captain America Civil War.
34, Star Wars Episode I, the Darth Maul one.
33, The Dark Knight Rises.
32, The Dark Knight stays where it is.
31, Marvel's The Avengers.
30, Mini-Ons.
Number 29, The Lion King 2019.
28, The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey.
27, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
26, Jurassic Park.
25, Iron Man 3.
24, Frozen.
23, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
22, Jurassic World Alive Kingdom.
Tied at number 21, Andrew Stanton's Finding Dory, Jordan Peele's Us, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3, John M. Chu's Crazy Rich Asians, and Ron Howard's Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
At number 20, back at it again with the four numbers comes Beauty and the Beast.
Number 19, Titanic.
Number 17, Toy Story 4.
Number 15, Joker.
Someone else who enjoys doing the futterwhacking right there. And number 14, none of these people enjoy the futterwhacking. The Incredibles 2.
Maybe Dash.
No.
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 Number 13, Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Number 11, Zootopia. Yeah.
Number 10, Avengers Endgame.
Number 9, Black Panther.
Number 8, Avengers Infinity War.
Number 7, Rojouet 1, A Star Wars Story.
Thank God we have a French film on this list. Number 6, for 8, The Fate of the Furious.
Number 5, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi.
Number 4, Aquaman.
Number 3, The True Return of the King.
Is there a fake Return of the King?
Yes.
Okay. Number 2, Furious 7.
And number 1, I had my suit on and my jewelry on for that one, Skyfall. I had my jewelry on for that one.
We are near the end of the list.
3 more weeks.
3 more movies to talk about. One
And
of which is next week's movie, Frozen 2.
And sadly, we did not have enough time to get feedback in from the previous episode. So next week we'll have feedback from both Toy Story 4 and Joker. If you want to leave a comment or email us, let us know.
What's that email?
billiondollarmovieclub@gmails.com.
Yeah. And leave your comments for Toy Story 4, Joker, or future comments. Tell us about Frozen 2 before we talk about Frozen 2. This was the $1 Billion Movie Club. Every week we talk about movies that made a lot of money. Remember to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube.
One can
Follow us
say
on the
movies that
socials.
made 3 commas.
Oh.
Tres comas.
Trace. We are multilingual today. That's what happens on the Joker episode. This was Joker. Next week is Frozen 2. Shout outs as always to Max Smocchio.
How many more franchises we got left? All of them. All of them.
Name 5 of them.
Frozen.
Yeah.
Disney.
Sure.
Animation Studios. Yeah. Star Wars.
We got one of those franchises.
The Skywalker saga specifically as well.
I don't think that's a franchise. I think that's a saga.
No, that's a franchise. And
I'll take your word for it.
The Harry Potter.
Oh, I love HGTV.
And I ain't talking Muppets.
We'll see you next week.
Let us know in the comments down below which Muppet you think is the Harry Potter.
Bye.
I always thought my life was a tragedy, but now I'm realizing it's a comedy. Hello.